Money grows where skill grows, and most people severely underestimate how powerful this truth is. They think wealth comes from luck, connections, timing, or some magic business idea. But the real foundation of making serious money, especially your first million, is your skill set. Skills are the engine of income. When your skills stay the same, your income stays the same. When your skills get better, your bank account reflects it. Money doesn't respond to wishes, positive thinking, or ambition. It responds to capability. The biggest lie society sells is that everyone gets paid based on time. Work hard, work long hours, work for years. But in reality, time means nothing without skill. You could work 10 hours a day at a low-skill job and still struggle financially. Meanwhile, someone else could work 3 focused hours using a high-income skill and make more in a day than most make in a month. That's not unfair, that's a reflection of the value each skill produces in the marketplace. Think about it, businesses don't pay you because they like you, they pay you because you can solve a problem they have better than most people can solve it, and the only way to solve big problems, the kind that get you paid big money, is by developing rare, difficult, monetizable skills. Skills like sales, copywriting, paid advertising, client acquisition, offer creation, leadership, and systems thinking. These are the skills that actually move money. These are the skills people will pay thousands for, because these skills generate money for them. This is why your life changes the moment you stop focusing on earning money and start focusing on learning skills. Money is temporary, skills are permanent. You could lose everything tomorrow, but if you've built real skills, you can rebuild from zero. People who get rich fast without skills go broke even faster because their wealth wasn't rooted in capability. But if you have skills, nobody can take your wealth, building ability away from you. And don't confuse skills with information. Information is cheap. You can learn anything on YouTube, but skill requires practice, repetition, pressure, and execution. You don't become a great closer by watching sales videos. You get there by getting rejected hundreds of times until your instinct sharpens. You don't get good at marketing by reading about psychology. You get good by testing campaigns, failing, losing money, learning, adjusting, repeating. Skill is formed by discomfort. Skill is formed by doing the hardest part over and over until it becomes second nature. In the beginning, the skills you need won't feel natural. They'll feel uncomfortable because they're new. That discomfort is the price you pay for the future you want. Building skill is the equivalent of stacking financial artillery. Every new skill you learn increases your earning potential. Every hour you invest into mastery compounds. Skill is the only investment that never crashes, never gets taxed, and never loses value. The moment you understand this, everything in your life changes. You stop wasting your time, you stop chasing shortcuts, you stop looking for the easiest way, you start asking the right question: which skill, if I built it to a world-class level, would make me unstoppable? Because the truth is, once your skills become undeniable, your wealth becomes inevitable. Money follows skill the same way water follows gravity. It has no choice. When you grow, your income grows. When you become more valuable, the world pays you more. And your first million is nothing more than the natural result of developing the right skills with relentless consistency. Most people will spend their entire lives consuming. They consume entertainment, consume trends, consume opinions, consume distractions, and consume the achievements of others. But the world doesn't reward consumers, it rewards producers. Once you understand this difference, you stop living like everyone else and start operating like someone who is building real wealth. The moment you shift from consuming value to creating value, everything about your financial trajectory changes. A consumer wakes up and checks their phone. A producer wakes up and checks their goals. A consumer spends money. A producer makes money. A consumer watches someone else's success. A producer builds their own. That single shift in identity from I watch things happen to I make things happen is the most important change you can make if you want your first million. The marketplace doesn't care how much content you consume, how many hours of motivation you watch, or how many books you read. The marketplace pays only one type of person: the person who creates solutions, creates results, creates products, or creates opportunities. Producers are the ones who build businesses, services, content, systems, and offers that other people pay for. Consumers make those producers rich. When you spend your life consuming, you become passive. You absorb other people's opinions instead of forming your own. You wait for ideas instead of generating them. You drift instead of building. Consumers live in response to the world. Producers shape the world. Being a producer doesn't mean you never consume anything again. It simply means you consume intentionally. A producer reads not for entertainment but for application. A producer watches videos not to kill time but to learn a technique they will implement. A producer invests money and time into things that enhance their ability to create, not things that distract them from the path. Most people fail financially because their ratio of consumption to production is wildly unbalanced. They consume content daily but create nothing. They consume advice but take no action. They consume money faster than they earn it. And then they wonder why they never break through. To build wealth, you must reverse that ratio. You should be producing more than you consume, producing ideas, producing solutions, producing systems, producing offers, producing results. Even if your product is imperfect, even if your service is messy in the beginning, even if your inexperience producing will teach you more than thinking or consuming ever will. You learn faster by doing than by watching. You grow faster by trying than by analyzing. Producers get momentum, consumers get overwhelmed. Producers make decisions, consumers hesitate. Producers get paid, consumers pay. There is no middle ground. Your future wealth depends on this one shift. Stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I create?" Because the moment you become a producer, you step into the small minority of people who actually shape their destiny rather than watch others live theirs. And that mindset alone puts you on the path to becoming someone whose value is too high for the world to ignore. Money doesn't flow to the person who sits around thinking, planning, or waiting for the perfect moment. Money flows to the person who moves fast, stays disciplined, and becomes obsessed with getting better. These three traits are not optional if you want to hit your first million, they are mandatory. Speed gets you into the game, discipline keeps you in the game, and obsession makes you dangerous enough to win it. Most people move slowly. They procrastinate, overthink, and hesitate. They want certainty before they want progress. But the truth is, the marketplace rewards speed because speed creates opportunity. When you move quickly, you test faster, you learn faster, and you fail faster, which means you also succeed faster. Fast action exposes you to reality. It shows you what works and what doesn't. And the person who gathers the fastest becomes the person who gains advantage the fastest. The world isn't controlled by the smartest person. It's controlled by the person who takes action before anyone else even finishes thinking. But speed without discipline collapses. Discipline is the backbone of every success story. Discipline means doing the work even on the days you don't feel like it. Discipline means building habits that produce results whether motivation exists or not. Anyone can be excited for a week. Anyone can grind for a month. But the person who consistently executes for years even when life gets messy, even when results come slow, even when no one is watching, that person is unstoppable. Discipline transforms sporadic effort into predictable progress. It turns wishful thinking into measurable results. It changes dreams into deadlines, and then comes obsession, the piece most people are too afraid to admit is necessary. Society tells you to be balanced, to take it easy, to not take life so seriously. But balance doesn't build empires. Obsession does. Obsession is when you become deeply committed to improving your craft, your skills, your systems, your body, your mind, your business. It's when you wake up thinking about your goals and go to sleep planning your next move. Obsession isn't unhealthy, it's simply rare, and because it's rare, it's powerful. When speed, discipline, and obsession combine, money has no choice but to follow. You become the type of person who outworks competitors, out-focuses distractions, and outperforms expectations. You start achieving in 6 months what most people take 6 years to accomplish. Not because you got lucky, but because you moved before others reacted, you stayed consistent when others quit, and you cared more about mastery than convenience. People often ask why some individuals seem to rise so quickly in life. The answer is simple. They operate with urgency, consistency, and intensity. They treat every day as if it matters because it does. $1 million isn't earned through occasional effort or half-hearted interest. It's earned through a season of life where speed is your default, discipline is your routine, and obsession is your engine. Money gravitates toward momentum, and momentum is built by people who refuse to slow down, refuse to break their promise to themselves, and refuse to be anything less than excellent. When you embody these three traits, wealth becomes less of a possibility and more of an inevitability.